say that them fire can't cool. How long them a go take our people for fool? Nah build no houses, them nah build no school. Think them have the handle, but of the most high rule. Them better stop criticizing. Cause what them a do now phase him. You know the man no lazy. All them a talk, them are the one right crazy. We'll fight for the people every day. Risk them life for the people every day. Get criticized for the people every day. Defending your rights.
Mic check. No, my goodness gracious. Oh. Can everyone hear me? Let me go back up and bear with me, people. 2, 3. No, OT, move that. I have it. All right. Everybody can hear me. OT, put up the other video. I don't see it. Big up yourself, sis. Well, go on. I want to keep you long tonight. Like, I know all the things. And I tell you what, let me bring you on right now. All right.
Okay.
OT, move the logo there, please. All right, thank you. And it's there, you say it's there? We don't see it, OT. The post-cabinet briefing, the introduction, is this it? Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so then the other two. Okay, all right, thanks, OT. All right, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, students, good evening. Welcome to Come Reason with Rattigan. We have been delayed, but you know what? Not for long, because we're
denied.
We're here. As the man said, when I can remember him say NFL National Football League, a referee made a call against his team. I think he used to coach the Houston Oilers, and him said to the referee, "Do you know what NFL means?" And he said, "It means not for long." So he want to tell him to his numbered. So that's what I tell the haters and all of the people who had gone with them things. Sis, the computer are going with some things over there never before seen.
Really? Wow.
And even when you Google and try and come up with the answers, it still won't work, you know. Big up yourself,
wow.
because Kevin Stew is a man on a mission tonight, and he stopped to help us.
Right.
And I can thank him for the things that I'm looking at right now. So Kevin, big up yourself. Always there.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Big up yourself, Kevin Stew. Sis, pick up yourself. Welcome, 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 welcome. People, listen, we don't even have time tonight to go into the greetings, so please forgive me.
Yeah.
Next week will be different, but tonight we're what, 38 minutes, 39, 40 minutes late. So we have to just run and jump in this thing here. What we wanted to do tonight was we wanted to talk about ODPEM, but ODPEM from the perspective of the Support Jamaica website, because you've seen reports about it. But we wanted to dig a little bit deeper and talk to you about the gentleman who owns the website and the agreements that they have, or the agreements that they should have, that they didn't have, and how the Jamaican taxpayer, well, in this case, we're going to focus not only on the taxpayer, sis, but we're going to focus on people like us, people in the diaspora, made contributions. And we're going to show you where your contributions went. We're going to show you who take part of your money, because when you use your credit card and you say, I want to donate $100, we're going to show you that not $100 went to the cause. Less than that. We're going to show you how they handled the funds, how they had a gentleman's agreement to hold on to funds, and that gentleman's agreement was violated because funds that were supposed to be held for 45 days were held to up to 80 days beyond the 45-day period. And it gives reason to believe that it was rinsing of money. And so we're asking for people, maybe not the Attorney General, but somebody to look into the accounts of the financial institution that managed the money to see if the money was in one place all of that time, or the money left and went someplace else. And then when people when the Auditor General started, when she started raising issues, money came back. We don't know, but it looks really, really fishy. So really, really fishy, sis. Anyway, welcome. The floor is yours. Talk to the people, and then we'll just move on into the program.
And our air. And it is wonderful to be. It's wonderful to be here. When I remember what I are and what I used to was, it makes me with a bitter web. I thought that I are dead. And because I are tanso, you could are tanso too. Pray for me. Well, I pray for you in Jesus' name. I are.
Okay.
Welcome. You have to laugh to keep from crying. You know what I'm saying? And thanks for your welcome, and good to be in this space. And to everybody in the chat, a blessed good evening. And I pray that your today was better than your yesterday. And I pray that your tomorrow will be even better than your today.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, sis. Last week, Saturday, we did a thing on the various misconceptions, lies, deceptions, contradictions concerning the TCN program. And there were 3 things we were supposed to leave you with so that you could fully manage any discussion concerning the TCN. And we didn't leave that with you. We're going to leave it with you this Saturday. All right? Promise you that. This Saturday also, people, can't say much, but on a have to tune in this Saturday, because here's what we're going to talk about Saturday. Where is it? We have the promo already. All right. Talk about 2 things. We'll talk about the Integrity Commission, and the topic is before the beginning. So what we're going to talk about on the Integrity Commission this Saturday is how it was formed, because there were 3 organizations that they combined. So we're going to go back and talk about the 3 organizations, what each was responsible for doing, and how they ended up being the one that we know now. Because back then, there was one of the 3 was called the Integrity Commission. Believe it or not. One of the 3 was the Integrity Commission. The other one was something on corruption, and the third one was the Inspector General. So we're going to talk about this Saturday. It's basically a historical perspective as to the formation of this entity that we call the Integrity Commission. Then we're going to talk about Baz's visas, the American perspective. And here's why that is going to be so interesting. Everybody's talking about the B1, B2 visa that was revoked. But I want you to keep in mind, Baz was a minister. And as a minister, he got also an A visa, which is a diplomatic visa, because he couldn't travel to America using the B1, B2 under no circumstances, or very little circumstances would they allow a minister to come on official business using a B1, B2. You're supposed to use that visa, that other visa, the official visa that you travel on for official business. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about it from the American perspective. And what do I mean by American perspective? I worked in several embassies. I used to liaise heavily with the consular section, the section that is responsible for visas. So we're going to give you an inside look as to the workings, the inner workings of an embassy when it comes to visas. The role of the ambassador, who's also known as chief of mission, the deputy ambassador, also known as the chargé when there's no ambassador, like what's going on in Jamaica now. In Jamaica, you don't have a deputy ambassador, you have a chargé. We're going to talk about that. We're going to show you all of in a typical embassy, all of the agencies there, and that we're going to focus on the consular section. We're not going to talk much about the others, like the FBI, DEA, CIA, the economic section, political. We're not going to talk about it. We're going to focus on the consular section. And then we're going to show you the Bible that they use overseas. It's called the Foreign Affairs Manual. And we're going to get to the point where they deal with visa revocation. And we're going to show you that what former Ambassador Tapia said, we're going to ask you to look at it in light of the things that we're going to present. I've never been assigned to the embassy in Jamaica, so I don't know what they did. All I can tell you is that I've been to several embassies and there's a standard procedure how they do business. That's all I can tell you. And then we'll play what Ambassador Tapia said, and then we'll present what a typical embassy, how they would handle something like this. And then you can make up your mind. You can make up your mind about what is going on. So those of you who are concerned that I'm going to come from the Jamaica perspective, the Baz's perspective, I'm not. I'm going to come from the other side. And then the third topic we're going to talk about, and this you cannot miss, my people. You missed the first two. I'm talking about it. You can't say, we don't care about Baz visa. We don't care about what Ambassador Tapia said. We don't care about the Integrity Commission. You can't say all of those things. But this one, you can't miss it, because here's what we're going to do. It's about SSL. And we're going to explore some shocking connections. Some shocking connections. Mark my words. I've seen the presentation, and actually it's two presentations. And it has to do with a foreign country. It has to do with a foreign leader. Has to do with it has to do with SSL. Has to do with a financial entity. And believe it or not, there's a connection. There's a connection. We're trying to explore this connection with the Prime Minister. And, we went over the Craig Beresford's 100 and some odd page, that document that the Prime Minister tried to get the Court of Appeal to strike certain portions of it. We went over it again. And would you believe it? In that 100 and some odd page document, there is one entry that nobody paid attention to. There is one dege entry. I was just going through this stuff, and it just caught me, corner of my eye, and I saw it. And that is going to tell you that there's more to this SSL saga than what we have been told. Believe me, you cannot miss it. There's a foreign country right now. Let me not say anything else, because my team said to me, listen, just whet them appetite. Just tell them that. All you need to tell them is that we're going to present something on SSL that hasn't been looked at before. And the Prime Minister, Croskery, and a whole bunch of people involved in this. And this is something that they probably not probably, they definitely don't want you to know. They don't want you to know this. So you can't miss it. And I'm going to be here early. So all of you who planning to come late because you say, them start late, you're going to miss things because we're going to start early. We'll also have Kenko Eye. We're going to have a live demonstration. For those of you who have family members, relatives, or friends, colleagues who have limited sight, they have vision problems, low vision, blindness, whatever, you have to watch this segment. The owners, the founders, they were on last week. And Angela Burke and her husband, DJ, who's blind, and he's been blind since he was, I think, 18 years of age. He's a grown man now. You have to watch this segment. Many of you watched it last week, and some of you reached out to her, some of you reached out to me, and they're coming back on Saturday for about 20 minutes or so to give a live demonstration so you can see the thing, and you can take it from there. You can reach out to her. You can reach out to her, and she said that, they have a donation section. You can invest in the product, but they're only interested in serious people who are serious about investing in the product. And they're supposed to get glasses as well, because right now it's a browser. They said it's on the browser and it's something to do with a phone, but they're getting it now as part of glasses. So it's going to make it much, much easier. So you have to tune in this Saturday. Believe me, I'm excited. I've been excited about the program for a long time. I mean, this excited. I'm excited every Saturday, but this Saturday with this SSL thing, believe me, when you see this, when you see the presentation, people, you're going to go, wow. Wow. And I know the Prime Minister and his folks are going to tune in, because there's much more to this SSL saga that has not been uncovered. And what we're saying is that we're not saying that we're uncovering the whole thing. To be clear, what we're saying is we're uncovering one or two issues. And the issues also, they have to do with the Financial Services Commission. And we're going to show you some things about them. We're going to show you some things about Minister Nigel Clark as well. So come prepared Saturday. Come prepared Saturday. All right, sis.
I'm thinking about the story you're talking about SSL, and I'm like, but that story was in the news lately. People are paying attention. With the other government, the SSL story you're talking about with the other government.
There's something else beyond that. There's something else. Yeah, cause like tonight's story where we're gonna talk, a gentleman, don't remember his name, he did a piece on it, but there are several tentacles that he didn't explore, didn't go down and deal with them. So what we did was we said, all right, fine, we're gonna just bring up everything and deal. So it's not just a foreign government, it's another financial entity, it's all of these players.
This corruption is too much, Ratigan. The corruption is too much, you sit down and, yesterday I was asking somebody else, and somebody said, it is so much that if you don't remove yourself from it, it will consume you. Say something, you have to shut it all down, Right. And you can't watch certain things and go to bed, because you'll never sleep, Right. So it's really too much. And I asked the question: when did Jamaica become so diabolical? We have people just look at them just born wretched, Everybody just vicious and violent, thief and liar and a scam. It's too much. You wonder what happened. What happened to our people? And then they've lost the fighting spirit to stand up for themselves. These are people who used to fight. We used to protest for 10 cents going on gas. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where's the fighting spirit to stand up for your rights, stand up for that which you are deserving of? Come on, the hospital's broken, schools broken, roads broken, everything mash up. And it's like, oh, no, nothing to see here,
Stella Gray Passmore said that they must see it, you don't come to Jamaica. Well, I tell you what, Stella, I was talking to my team and them say, if you think them did it already, wait till Saturday.
Stella Gray.
Things said them
My
just
girl, Stella Gray. Yeah.
things say, maybe them hate him. Them said after Saturday, them definitely are gonna hate you. But
Ratigan, if you, honest to God, are even remotely considering doing that, then tell me very quickly. I'm not a person that wear dresses, but I'm gonna have to buy a black frock.
they're gone.
You're mad. Come on. As what Val say? You would be dumb, dark, and stupid.
You know, I'll find that. A good thing you mentioned that. We never put that up, you know. OT, you know, put that one there.
Oh, God.
OT, wait, dumb, see that, dumb, dark, and stupid. So, this is where, wait there. See that?
Oh my God.
Dark and they're stupid.
Yeah.
They are dunce.
Oh
they
my
are dark and they're stupid.
All right.
Well, look who is talking. Hey, look, now ring for him, you know, because he is OJ. Now you're peace with him this year. He was, Rafi, he was rewarded for spending. He was rewarded for spending $1.4 billion on Dollar Boss.
Okay, I was just gonna put that up. See, I don't know if you watch the program this past Saturday, but this is something that we
a little bit, some of it, and not all of it. Yeah,
this is what we did on Saturday. We'll put up this. Share. We'll put up this. Remove that. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we put up, right? Our contribution to that. We said the Order of Distinction is Jamaica's version of the Academy Awards. The best actor gets the prize. And for them say, he pioneered the rural school bus system, bringing more affordable and safer transportation to our nation's children. Congratulations to the cast and crew of Dollar Buses.
Right. Looking forward to the sequel. Yeah, but you know something, Ratigan? That's a dishonest statement that they're putting out there, because the government said that's why they gave it to him because he did not. The rural school bus program was not. It has been around for a while, you know. It's not. It was been around for a long time. It's not just yesterday. It's not just since the cheese buses. That's his thing. But the school bus program has been around. Rural school bus program has been around for a while. Since
the school
what's his name?
2010, somewhere around there. So
with Omar Davis, I think it was. Yeah, so it's been around a while.
He didn't pioneer anything. We discussed that on Saturday and said, no, these people, they're dishonest, man. But you know what? That's life. But here's what's going on today. No, today or tonight, we're gonna focus on Support Jamaica, the website, the Melissa website. We're going to focus on it, and we're going to play a couple of videos. We're going to go to the AG's report, because I'm telling you, people, if you would just read the AG's report, because don't follow the headlines, because the headline is just this much they're giving you in the report, just this much. When you read that report, this is so many things. Tonight, we're going to tell you some things that I'm not a betting man, but I'm willing to wager that some of the things we're going to tell you tonight, you didn't know. And those things affect you, and you didn't know. No, they're going to affect you even more, because after tonight, you're going to say, I didn't know that they were doing this to us. And that's the purpose of the program. Remember what I said on Saturday? The purpose is that we want you to walk away and say, boy, geez, I didn't know that's what was going on and how it was done. We don't want you to walk away and say, me did hear say. No. We want you to walk away and say, I didn't know that's how it was done. Look at how they did it. Knowledge. That's what we want to leave you with. All right. Oh, no, remember, don't overstart with, start with this. You remember after Melissa? Well, there was Beryl here before, and then Melissa. And when Melissa occurred, ODPEM, just around the time, I think it's shortly after Melissa or shortly before, they changed personnel at the top. Well, they changed person at the top. And they brought in this man.
You're going to see the kind of joined up approach much more seamlessly executed. And so having said that, I now ask for us to welcome Commander Gale. And I'll tell you, Commander Gale is not just someone we've taken and put in this position. While I was at ODPEM before the hurricane, during the hurricane, Commander Gale was one of those persons who never left the center, the Emergency Operations Center. So he knows what has happened. He has been there supporting. He was there when the calls were coming in while the hurricane was affecting communities really, really in a significant way. And he was assisting with taking those calls, assisting in getting persons out to help those who were seeing flooded situations and were fearing flooding. So he's not someone that is new to this. He has been a part of the process. I have been impressed with him every single conversation. I used to call him to get updates on the death toll, and he was always super professional, and I was always saying to him, I'm very glad that we had him as a part of our disaster risk framework. And so, Commander Gale, Jamaica is looking forward to you doing big things. I will soon stop talking so that you will take over all these press briefings eventually and report to Jamaica. And that's the plan, is that he will have command of everything. And so most of the updates will be coming from him as he takes up his role. Commander Gale?
I'll just let you listen to just
No pressure.
30 seconds of what.
Ministers, permanent secretaries, agents, representatives, members of the media, the people of Jamaica, both here and abroad. Good morning. It is an honor this morning to address you in my new capacity as the Director General of the ODPEM. I am deeply aware of the trust that Jamaica has placed in my office.
Okay, deeply aware of the trust, and should big him up, right? One of the things, sis, that the media didn't pick up on is that she's saying he had a few days of experience.
Mm-hmm.
A few days. They removed somebody who had a few years.
Years experience. Yes.
And said, hey, he has a few days, and they put him inside there. And you know what? People didn't pay attention to that. The media didn't pay attention to that. And that's why this happened.
Aid. Can you remind me of the number of packages that the government has distributed to this point?
I think it was 116,000.
15,000. It was indicated too that partners would have been distributing. Do you have information about that number from the partners?
Not in my notes here, but I can indicate, for example, that the World Food Kitchen is one of our stronger partners. To date, they have done just 1.3 million hot meals into various communities.
Right, but that's not packages. That would have been
that's hot meals.
Right. So they will give a daily distribution of hot meals.
Mm-hmm.
So if we work with the 116, you also indicated that you estimate that each package would serve about 4 people.
Yes, for 4 days.
For 4 days.
Yeah.
So with about 20 days gone, then we should have had about 5 rotations.
That is ideal.
That is ideal. So with this number, we should have indicated that if it was serving a family of 4, then at best, each family would have received 1/5 of the time, or 1/5 of the families would have received enough times. Which one is the more likely circumstance?
Repeat this for my clarity.
All right. So
one for
the 5 periods that would have existed since the hurricane, you have distributed enough food for 1 per family. So if it is 1 per family, then they would have received 1/5 of the times that you desired. Or was it that 1/5 of the family received enough rotations?
The reality of it might be a mix of the two.
Sorry?
Because we have been back into locations to issue products.
So in that case, therefore, there would be some persons that would have been in a rotation, indicating that there might be quite a bit of persons that have not been touched by government.
The possibility could exist.
How quickly could we get that information so that we can cauterize and immediately solve that situation?
We could see to work on it just to complete it this week.
Yeah. You're muted. You're muted.
Yeah, this is thanks. This is what happens when you put a square peg in a round hole.
Exactly.
This is exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So he had a few days experience, and all of a sudden he's the savior. And then first time he came before Parliament, I think it was his first time, couldn't answer some simple questions. And it got progressively worse. Progressively worse. Sis, before I show this document, is there anything you want to say about the two videos you see a while ago?
Yeah, I was thinking, she said that they didn't just pluck him out from anywhere. But clearly they did, because they fired the professional, the seasoned professional, and hired someone who doesn't have the technical skill set for the job that they put him in. And it's not that he wasn't qualified for the job that he came from. But putting him in this position did him a disservice. And I remember a few weeks ago watching our some newscast where the Prime Minister was given a breakdown as to why they had to. They were asking about ODPEM in his office and changing the head of ODPEM, and he said something to the effect of productivity and compensation. And I'm thinking to myself, if we're thinking about productivity and compensation, he shouldn't be Prime Minister. Looking at it, because it was so disrespectful of the persons who were at ODPEM all through these years, doing an excellent job of taking care of people before, during, and after a natural disaster. And then you just pluck up this man, and all the chaos that has ensued since then, because people are still sleeping under tarpaulin. Why is that so?
Point well made. Merle, big up yourself. Now I'm going to show you something. So now we heard about Melissa and the ascendancy of Commander Gale. And then we heard him trying to answer some very simple questions with great difficulty. Promised to provide some of the answers. He promised to provide some of the answers later on. Now I'm going to show you something now. We're going to go back a little bit to Beryl, but before we get to Beryl, I want to put up this chart. Big up yourself, producer OT, so that you can understand where we're going. This is going to be critical when you watch what the commander said a few weeks ago. This is going to be critical for you to understand this. And when you hear the questions from Peter Bunting and you hear the questions from Julian Robinson and others, you're going to understand. Look at this. All right. Remember that this is the website, the Support Jamaica website. We're going to get into that, because this website was actually built by a gentleman who came to Jamaica from India, but it wasn't the first website. It wasn't his first website. And I got to find out last night that whenever the government had something where they have to, they have to push stuff out through our website, a lot of the things they use his website. Like, for example, they said to me, like, champs, if you're going to Boys and Girls, that sporting event, that when you buy tickets and you buy through the website, you go through this man's website. If there's a game and you want to purchase a ticket online, you're going through his website. The government has given him basically free reign. And guess what? There is no procurement for the procedures for this man. There's no procurement procedures, like they would say, okay, we're going to put it out to the highest bidder. There's no such. That's what I've been told by people in the know. Now, let me show you for Melissa. They were saying, and the reason I'm putting this up, because you're going to hear the officials lie to you tonight. You're going to hear them. Not only tonight, hear them last week and the week before, but tonight you're going to hear some flat out lies coming from the podium at the post-cabinet briefing. Here's how it works for those of you who would like to know about this website, right? The website was open so that Jamaicans and friends of Jamaica, friends of Jamaicans, anybody could donate to help the relief effort for Melissa. Now, here's how it works. Here's how it worked. Because, well, actually, I think it's still open. But if you're a donor, you could donate one or two ways. You could use your credit card, or you could use a bank transfer, wire transfer. And this is for people, particularly those in the diaspora. A lot of people in the diaspora sent money for the relief effort, and they sent it to this way because you had to go. Remember, they put up the website, supportjamaica.gov.jm, whatever it was. So you send it credit card, wire transfer. No, let's just focus on the wire transfer section. Let's just focus on the wire transfer section. All right. Follow the line. You know, I'm going to draw for Kevin's favorite thing. All right, here we go. Now follow this. If you're a donor, you go like this. If you do wire transfer, your wire transfer, and the money went. Oh, that messed me up. All right, just follow me with this thing. The money went. Let me get rid of this. All right, the money went from the wire transfer. You see this arrow right here, this arrow here. So you wire transfer the money, and it went to ODPEM's donation account at NCB. That's if you wire transfer the money from your account to the account, to ODPEM's account. It went straight in there. However, if you use a credit card, here we are now. If you use this, here's where it went. It went to Lasco Financial. And from Lasco, it would then go to, right here, it would then go to the donation account. So everything ended up in the donation account, but not directly. If you use a wire transfer, it went directly. If you use a credit card, it went through Lasco. Now you ask yourself, why Lasco? Are you going to hear the answers to that, or the non-answers to that question later on? From what I've been told, Lasco is linked to the Amber Group via the gentleman there. So whenever there is the usage of a website, one of the Amber website where you have to purchase a ticket or whatever, you have to use your credit card for something, Lasco is the financial institution that they use. There is no bidding. Lasco is tied to this organization. That's what I've been told. So that's why you will see, because I was asking, well, why Lasco? Why didn't they choose somebody else? I said, because Lasco is tied to that outfit. Now, here's what Lasco did with your money. How many of you knew this? Lasco, 15% GC. Well, first of all, Lasco charged 3.9% for commission for processing. And the reason why they said they use Lasco, based on what I've been told, again, is that Lasco is a safe and secure portal to deal with credit cards. You know, money's coming
because the Amber Group does not have that security thing for their website. They do not have that.
They don't. That's true. So they use Lasco. Now, here's what happened. The industry standard, I've been told, is about 2.5% to 4% for a financial institution to handle credit card transactions, you know, the processing fee and all of that stuff. See what Lasco charge? 3.9 at the 4%, that 3.9. You're going to hear questions about this, you know. You're going to hear questions from in the PAC about this. And then on top of that, Lasco, they got 15% GCT on the commission. So they would take the 3.9 or 4%, and then they would take 15% for the commission, because they're not going to take that and pay it out of that. So they took the commission, and they have 15% GCT on the commission. Then look at this. One of the things they did was they, after all the monies they collected, and you're talking a lot of money, Lasco kept 30% of it. They didn't turn it over to ODPEM. They said, we're holding this for chargeback. What is chargeback? Chargeback is where, people, they charge something and they said, no, I'm not going to, I want to cancel my...
And they don't want to go through.
Or the credit card was bad or whatever it is. I've been told that it's standard in the industry for people to hold some money back for chargeback, but not 30%. Not 30%. Right? And especially with this, there's less likelihood that you're going to have a lot of chargeback because people weren't buying goods, want to return it. This was a donation, people giving money. Then there was a 45-day retainer period, but look below it, no agreement. There was no agreement, no written agreement. It was a handshake agreement for Lasco to hold on to the money for 45 days. What I'm going to show you later on is that Lasco held on to this money in some instances for about 80 days after the 45-day period. And what I've been told is that whenever you see this kind of transactions with this delay in turning the money over to where it should go, there are some things going on. Is it possible that this money was being used to invest elsewhere? We don't know. But to keep the money, first of all, no agreement, and then just a handshake agreement, nothing in writing. Everything else was in writing, And by the way, the agreement that they had, the agreement took place long after, well, not long after, but after the website went up and they started collecting money. They didn't have the agreement before, even though they had this website going back to Beryl. And they tweaked it. And they had no agreement. It was only after the money started flowing in now, they said, whoops, let's have an agreement. And then when they had that agreement saying, okay, Lasco is going to process the credit card donations, then they said, let's shake on Lasco keeping the money for 45 days. So there's no written agreement about that. And then Lasco kept the money in some instances for up to 80 days beyond the 45 days. So now you're talking about 125 days they kept the money. And I've spoken to people in the financial industry, and they've said to me, sometimes whenever you see that, it means that the entity holding the funds, they're investing it, short-term investments, and they're making money. So they said to me, what we need to do is we need to look at Lasco and ask Lasco, okay, when this money came in, did this money stay in one place until you returned it over to ODPEM, or did this money go elsewhere? Now that's easy to find out because everything is what? Electronic. It's not paper where you can erase things. You can't erase this. So that is still out there for somebody to investigate. Will anybody investigate it? I don't know. But it's just something to look at. So remember that there are two ways you donate it. Credit card wire transfer. Wire transfer went straight to the ODPEM's account. But if you did a credit card, it went to Lasco and the money was there for a while before it got turned over. And then if you send money via credit card, guess what happened? The money that you sent is not the money that actually went to ODPEM. It's less. Because
that is bad.
You got the 15% and the 3.9%. So when you say, oh, I'm saying, $1,000 did not reach ODPEM because Lasco grabbed some of that money and you're going to see where else. All right. So
right again, $1,000 did not reach ODPEM.
Right.
And then whatever reached ODPEM and some of that is taken away. God bless what the people got. So no wonder people are still sleeping under tarpaulin. Because the 15% GCT could have been waived because it was a natural disaster. And the 30% that the chargeback that they held on to, that also could have been lesser given the nature of the situation. And I don't think people were sending these monies to now hear that so much was being taken out. So, and they're talking about millions of dollars,
It's millions.
So clearly, the Lasco and the Amber Group, they really made a killing of the natural disaster of Melissa. Because they made the money. The people didn't make anything off it.
No.
And then the commander did say when he was at the last PAC meeting or the one before that, that they didn't have the money. They didn't know, and as a matter of fact, they didn't know how much money was collected from Beryl or spent from Beryl. So you see,
But here's the thing. We know how much money was collected and spent and how much money wasn't spent for Beryl. You know why? Because we have somebody called the Auditor General, and she produced a report that is mind-blowing, people. Now, let me just go to this video now. And everything that I hope everybody understood what I just presented. And if you didn't, just hit me up in the chat and say, hey, I don't understand this part with the credit card or the wire transfer or Lasco. Just quickly, when you send your money, ODPEM had a donation account with NCB, but in order for the money to get to the donation account, it two ways. If you wire transferred, it went straight into the account. But if you sent if you donated money via credit card, it went to Lasco. Lasco processed that, and then they were responsible for sending money on to the same donation account. So on one side, it was direct. The other side, we had an intermediary. Now I want you to listen to what this minister said.
Good morning.
Oh, by the way, let me stop right there. So. Well, we're going to show you. And I'm going to divert a little bit. You need to watch Minister Dana Morris Dixon's face when Zara Burton got up to ask the questions. I don't think Zara is one of her favorites. And that's putting it mildly.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to play that. And then you're going to hear Zara ask a question. She's going to ask a question about this whole Melissa arrangement. But I need you to just listen to the questions and just look at this lady's face. Look at this. When Zara got up. Look at that.
Good morning.
Watch her now. Watch her.
Chameleon.
Watch your people. Sister Zara get up and she said, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right, she said the questions are for Minister Johnson Smith. Do you want to say it? I can hear it. I can repeat it. Okay, a new mic is coming.
Hello, yes. Okay, Zara Burton, 18 Degrees North. Many questions for Camila Johnson Smith.
Can you just read out the questions and then we'll try to take them together?
And also for you, Minister.
Okay, sure.
The set of questions also impact Minister Grange. So this first question has been regarding a text message that I received from just a friend of mine who used to be a journalist over in the Philippines. And he made a mention that, paraphrasing, is it that the government is misusing funds that were raised for Melissa, given that I'm hearing that a private entity was the one that owned the supportjamaica.gov site. Now, that has been in the news recently, just regarding AMBO, and also regarding the information that went out to the diaspora, whether or not, why weren't the diaspora and other people who donated on that site locally told that this was a site not owned by the government of Jamaica? So that's one. Two, Minister Grange, in 2020 with the COVID-19 telethon, again, you raised funds, made a lot of assurances to the public about the funds not reaching into the consolidated fund, that it would go through charities, and it ended up that they ended up at the NHF, those funds, and you've never really fully accounted for those funds and how they were used, given the lack of trust that people have, especially in the diaspora, for donating funds to Jamaica. What is the plan to restore confidence, and will you give a full accounting of what happened with those COVID-19 telethon funds?
All right. How many of you remember the first question she asked? How many of you? I'm going to go back and play it because
Well, the Philippines,
the answer
Go
is going
ahead.
to blow you away. Let me go back and play the first question.
Yeah, can you just read out the questions and then we'll try to take them together?
And also for you, Minister.
Okay, sure.
The set of questions also impact Minister Grange. So this first question has been regarding a text message that I received from just a friend of mine who used to be a journalist over in the Philippines. And he made a mention that, paraphrasing, is it that the government is misusing funds that were raised for Melissa, given that I'm hearing that a private entity was the one that owned the supportjamaica.gov site? Now, that has been in the news recently, just regarding AMBO, and also regarding the information that went out to the diaspora, whether or not, why weren't the diaspora and other people who donated on that site locally told that this was a site not owned by the government of Jamaica? So that's one. Two, Minister Grange in 2000.
All right, let's stop it right there. So it had to do with the funding and the ownership of the website. All right, listen to this now.
Hereafter, I know many of you do little interviews after. They're here for those also.
Oh, and there was
A rocky girlfriend.
Yes, okay. I will read another set of questions that we got online. I will just give them to you, Minister Johnson Smith. There was a question about 2 Jamaicans. These are from Jamelia, who's usually here. Can the ministry speak to the status of 2 Jamaicans who were deported to St. Kitts Nevis? Also, there was one about Eswatini, which I think you answered before. If they're asking if there are any similarities in the situations, and they're asking also if the U.S. government doesn't notify us if a Jamaican citizen goes elsewhere, like Eswatini.
I'm trying to find. There's a section where actually.
Okay, so I'm going to do my best, and you can.
Hold on. Let me remove this. Let me go back and see if she.
Acquainted with the COVID-19 telethon again.
Let me see. She answered it in this section. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay.
They go directly.
Barriers to weaken both access to.
Let's get. All right, thank you.
All
right, so let's, ministers, if you can come up, let's get through these questions. I will give.
I remember the first question. It had to do with the funding and had to do with the ownership of the website.
One note, though, on Support Jamaica. And I know yesterday the head of ODPEM would have been giving updates, but what I do know is that in the disaster risk management structure, there is a finance committee that must approve any spend coming from any money that has been donated. In addition to that, all of the funds that would have been received through Support Jamaica, they go directly to ODPEM accounts. There is no intermediary accounts. They are going to ODPEM accounts. When you go on the website, you see ODPEM's accounts, the risk management structure. There is a finance committee that must approve any spend coming from any money that has been donated.
Let me make sure finish and then they'll unpack the lies.
In addition to that, all of the funds that would have been received through Support Jamaica, they go directly to ODPEM accounts.
Let me stop it. Let me stop it right there. So, you remember this? You know, remember this? The credit card donations do not go directly to ODPEM's account. They go through Lasco financing. You're going to hear she said there is no intermediary. So what is Lasco? My goodness gracious. Listen.
There is no intermediary accounts. They are going to ODPEM accounts. When you go on the website, you see ODPEM's accounts. And so there is an oversight mechanism for the money. Once the money comes in, there is a mechanism to approve the spend. The committee has to approve that spend. That committee is in place. I know yesterday in PAAC, ODPEM would have given extensive answers there, so I will not go any further.
We're going any further. You should tell you about a committee. Nobody asked her, what is this committee? When did this committee meet? How did they approve spending? They didn't ask her because here's what I've been told. I've been told that there is no committee dealing with this oversight for spending that money. Because you know why? You know why? It's coming from cabinet. That's what I was told. There's another one called the NDF. I think it's a National Disaster Fund. Different. Something completely different. Right? With that, You have donations, you have money coming from the government itself. And you know what? Let me put it up right here. Hold on. Let me put it up right here and show you. Let me put it up. Here it is right here. Big up yourself, OT. National Disaster Fund. See it here? There are two things. Two things. One, you have ODPEM's bank account with NCB. Then you have the National Disaster Fund. Let me go through the bullet points. It was established under a particular law in 2015. Here's what it contains: donations, grants, and other funds raised for disaster management purposes. It also should say that the government of Jamaica, there's a budget this. It also calls for, if there's a national disaster, that half of 1% received by every parish council must go to this fund to help. Because they're saying if it's national, then the parish councils by themselves can't take care of this disaster. So by law, they're supposed to give half of 1% of the money they receive for that financial year. They're supposed to give it to the National Disaster Fund. Here's another thing. The National Disaster Fund, you'll think that they have a bank account, right? They have no designated bank account. Tita, no designated bank account. And guess what? They have funds coming from Japan, and they have commingled those funds in one little thing, one little area. It's not their account. They're commingling funds coming from Japan. See there? And there is no funding committee to submit an annual report, and there's a funding committee responsible for issuing authorization to spend. This is for the National Disaster Fund. The other one that she's talking to you about, the Melissa Fund through ODPEM, it's controlled by the cabinet. The cabinet, they make decisions on how to spend that money. I was told that the decisions to spend the money is at the ministerial level. That's what I was told. And also what you're going to find is you're going to find that monies earmarked for burial, some of the monies wasn't spent. And when I asked, why wasn't it spent? They said, the minister said, we're going to stop spending. So, sis, you're part of the country, Clarendon. If Clarendon was hit by burial and the money wasn't spent, all that money wasn't spent for those funds, for those people, guess what? No. The money that's remaining from burial, they're going to use that now with funds from Melissa, and the folks in Clarendon who didn't get any money, it's unlikely that they're going to get any money.
They're going to get anything. Yeah.
So when
but you listen to her speak, you know.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, what I'm thinking is that I'm listening to her speak, and I'm wondering if she realized that she's talking to people who read, comprehend very well, and have an understanding of right, wrong, decency, and truth, and know full well that there's a trust deficit with this administration. So nothing she says holds any water, because these things can be easily proven, right? And she says it with such authority, like, believe what I'm telling you, but not your lived existence, that we are untrustworthy. They have proven it time and time again.
And the reason is because of this.
Oh my God. And they're stupid. They are dunce.
Oh
they
my
are dark and they're stupid.
They really believe that. That's why they come out and say nonsense that this woman said. I mean, listen to this again, people. Listen to what she just said.
Must approve any spend.
Listen to this.
Let's get through these questions. I will give one note, though, on Support Jamaica. And I know yesterday the head of ODPEM would have been giving updates, But what I do know is that in the disaster risk management structure, there is a finance committee that must approve any spend coming from any money that has been donated. In addition to that, all of the funds that would have been received through Support Jamaica, they go directly to ODPEM accounts.
No.
There is no intermediary accounts. They are going to ODPEM accounts. When you go on the website, you see ODPEM's accounts. And so there is an oversight mechanism for the money. Once the money comes in, there is a mechanism to approve the spend. The committee has to approve that spend. That committee is in place. I know yesterday in PAAC, ODPEM would have given extensive answers there, so I will not go any further.
Okay. So we start uncover the lies right there. We start uncover the lies, right? Because remember, no, she's in charge of information for the government, you know. So if there's one person who should be providing the people of Jamaica and by extension, the world with information concerning anything, particularly Melissa, it should be this lady. She should have double-checked, triple-checked to make sure that information that she does a Lego out of her mouth, that she's absolutely sure that the information is correct. So now, just follow me, people. We started out with the introduction of Commander Gale. Then we went to his monumental failure to answer some simple questions. Then we went to how the funds get to ODPEM's account, whether, you know, if you do it through credit card or wire transfer. And then we talked about that account, and we talked about the National Disaster Fund. And then you listen to what this minister just said, and it runs counter to everything that's going on. Here's what we're going to do now. Okay, we'll do this sequentially. We're now going to go to the Auditor General's report before we go to the PAC meeting, and you can listen to the nonsense. Now, let me go to the Auditor General's report. Let me pull up this one up first. Oh, this is a good one to start with. Hold on, let me we touched on this a little bit on, which one is this? On Saturday, Hurricane Melissa relief. Okay, fine. Here we go. People, you have to read. But you see, if you don't read, don't worry. I'm encouraging you to read. It's good for the brain. It's good to read and comprehend. But if you feel lazy and you don't want to do it, I'll do it for you. But at the very least, when I show you where this thing is, don't take my word for it. Pull it up yourself and just spend a little bit of time and read. I've spent a lot of time reading these things. Have I ever made a mistake? Will I ever make a mistake? Of course. And that's why I need you. That's why we need each other. I make a mistake, you can point out to me and say, no, Rattigan, yes, the words are there, but you're misinterpreting the words. And then you can give me your interpretation. But we need each other, right? So even though it's like a classroom thing, we're all teaching and we're all learning. So having said that, this is the Auditor General's report on the website itself. We're going to go later on and show you the second report. 2 reports she did. One on the website, one on the spending. Let's go to this one here with the website. And let me first go to this. And those of you who watch the program on Saturday, you know this already, all right? Let me quickly go. This is where we want to start, right here. This is where we want to start. All right. Now, folks, hope you can see that. Look at the top right, where you see that red, that hurricane, eye of the hurricane thing. The date there is July 3rd, 2024. Here it is. That is Hurricane Beryl they're talking about, right? They said that it hit Jamaica July 3rd. Look at this. July 8th, they launched this disaster fund.opm.gov.jm. That is the predecessor to Support Jamaica. This is the website that they used to get monies, donations for burial. What's interesting is that, see this? The website is developed, owned, and operated by a private entity. See that? And second one, the private developer grants use of website to the office of the Prime Minister. So the website is owned by a private entity, and they're allowing the office of the Prime Minister to use it to do what? To coordinate public donations. Here it is right here. On behalf of ODPEM. No, that's July 8th. Same day, they signed an agreement. So, okay, we're going to be collecting this money on behalf of Jamaica, the Jamaican government. That's July 8th. July 31st, they closed the donation period. They said, we don't need any more money for burial. Then look at this. October 27th, the next date, next relevant date, they re-engineered this. This website, what I have right here, this website, this website here. See it right here? They re-engineered this website because of Melissa. Melissa is coming now, October 27th. Here it is right here. It says, OPM, Office of the Prime Minister, they engaged the same person who developed the previous one, the disaster fund, .opm.gov.jm website, and they asked them to relaunch it as what? See it right here? As supportjamaica.gov.jm. So they take the same website for burial, and they tinker with it, did a few things, and say, all right, change the name. And they're changing him now to support. But it's the same website, people. No. Same website, operated by the same people. That's October 27th. That's the day before Melissa hit Jamaica. Talk about planning. Would you consider this good planning? The day before, Melissa out there churning on the waters. Over a week. Maybe 2 weeks, I'm going to watch Melissa. But maybe a week in terms of a direct hit on Jamaica. And they wait until the day before that. They said, okay, put up the website. We're going to start begging money, but change the name and do some tinker with it a little bit. So October 28th, Melissa approaches Jamaica. October 28th, look, launch of supportjamaica.gov. That's when they launched it. The same day Melissa hit Jamaica, them come up with this begging website. Same day. October 28th, Melissa hit Jamaica. See it right here. The re-engineered platform is launched by the private developer. See it? Right here. By the private developer. Now, people, look at this. This was October 28th. See it right here? October 28th. Look when them signed the agreement. December 2025. Here it is. A deed of agreement is executed between ODPEM and the private developer, and the agreement formalized the government's use of the Support Jamaica website, blah, 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 blah. And the private developers continued intellectual property ownership. It also says that the government of Jamaica will be responsible for operational responsibilities. Not true. Is the same Amber people and that control the thing. And other people.
Rafi, before you move from this, remember now, go back to COVID. It's this website that was used to collect donations. Do you remember that there were issues with that where people's information was exposed? People's information was exposed because they lacked the security badge. Then they went right back with Beryl to use the same person, then came back in Melissa, and they even in up to Melissa, they still did not have the security badge that we see when we go onto sites like Amazon or the banks. You see that security badge, so you feel some level of security when you're using your card to make your purchase or make donations. So why then would the government still work with this company to do such a thing, given that this company does not have a good track record?
Well, here's the thing. I'm not sure if the disaster fund.opm.gov.jm was the site used for COVID, but one thing I do know, and I agree with you, is that it was an Amber created site.
Amber, it's Amber Group I'm talking. Amber, yes, Amber, because remember now, Amber was the same one who did Beryl, raised funds for Beryl, and then came back in Melissa and raised funds for Melissa, correct?
Yeah, the Beryl website is the same website they use for Melissa.
Right, which was created by the Amber Group.
Right.
Right, but my point is, going back to COVID, and given the problems that they had with COVID, why would the government subject themselves to having issues with a company that does not have the security badge for people who are making donations?
Here's a question. Why would you, as a government, reward failure? Why?
That's the point. That is the point. Yes, exactly.
The website, it was hacked and it exposed thousands of people's
personal information. Yes.
And then you turn around and then you let them do it again. And you know why? Because we're
two times over.
Licky government. Because you know what the guy did? He said, I'll give it to you for free. For a year.
For a year. I was about to say, but was it free?
Yeah. He said, I'll give it to you for free. And once a year free, them say, let's forget about the past. You know, forget about the past. We'll take it. And they took it for Beryl. And then they took it for Melissa. So people...
But Ratigan, for free for the year, they collected on the back end.
Yes.
So the 1 year really didn't make any sense. They lost nothing.
And here's the thing. The thing is, why would you... In private industry, this would never happen. You feel you feel as badly as they did the first time around with COVID, you would never get a second chance. Because you know why? They have lots of companies out there who can do this. You mean to tell me that there's not a single company in Jamaica, Jamaican company, and they'll tell you that Amber is a Jamaican company. So let's rephrase. You mean to tell me that there's not another Jamaican company that could do this?
Jamaican national. Yeah, born Jamaican, yes, not an expatriate.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you were saying that they get the money on the back end, it seemed to me as if they were getting they would have gotten money like after the usage for a year. But listen, people, there's no such thing as a free lunch. There's no such thing as a free lunch. If you go and build this thing and say Jamaican government here, there has to be something in it for you. There must be something in it for you. And remember now, you fail with COVID and you come back now with Beryl, and we're going to show you that Beryl was a failure as well in terms of how the money was spent. Them still have Beryl money there. Sister, I heard family never got for Beryl, and they will not get for Beryl because the money that was earmarked for Beryl is now going to be spent with the money for Melissa to do something else. And we know they're not spending the money anyway. The money hasn't been spent. We know that. But think about it. People got hit by Beryl 2024. And here it is 2026. They still don't get the money. They still don't get the money. Oh, and Oti said the Lasco logo is on the website, even though the minister claimed that the money goes straight. Lasco website. And she said you can go and visit the website. Lasco's, wait there. Oh, wait there. Pint it out there. Pint it out. Pint it. Oh, donate now. Okay. Good on the hey, see there, Lasco. See it right there, so?
Yeah.
See it right there, so people. So when she say, oh, there was no intermediary and the money went straight into ODPEM's account, that is simply not true. Thank you, OT. Big up yourself. Move that.
That's misinformation and disinformation.
There you go. So now, let me just show you some things through with the Auditor General, because I found this report. I've read it a few times, and I found, you know what I'm finding out? When I read these reports, you have to read it more than once. You have to read it several times, because sometimes there's just so much information that sometimes you tend to forget or skip over some things. And then when you go back, depending on what the issue is, you'll go, wow, I didn't know this was in the report. So as I show this to you now, it's quite likely that I will see something either through this reading or another reading that I didn't see before. But it's not good. It is not good. Big up yourself, Auditor General. The notes that come after you sometimes, particularly with the tertiary funding, with Rose McLean and Dean Roy Bernard with 120 million, The no come after you because I said based on the law, financial administrative and that law, FAA, that you could have gone after them in court to get the information that they didn't want to give you and you didn't go to court. But you know what happened? It gone. We still have to talk about it though. But overall, you are one of my heroines in Jamaica. I'm telling you, you do really good work. So here it is. She said, this report is focused on the Hurricane Melissa relief website. That's what they're focused on in this. supportjamaica.gov.jm with particular emphasis on the adequacy of access management and data privacy controls. So now she's talking about security breaches. She's not talking about funding. I'll show you that report that she did, a second report. This one, it's amazing, people. Here it is. It says the government of Jamaica established the supportjamaica.gov website. We know it's not them establish it, it's Amber. But here are some of the things. And I mean, when I read the stuff that she did, when I read it, I have to say, oh, she's gone. When I read it, I have to say to myself, this lady she's doing outstanding work, believe me. So you're talking about weaknesses in security, information security, right? So what they're focusing on is, okay, they gifted this website to the government of Jamaica for a limited period. Let me look and see how secure was this website. Because, you know, with COVID, the website wasn't secure. Look at one of her findings right here. See that? In light of the foregoing, we found that access was granted to 8 external officers without documented requests, formal approvals, or evidence that the permissions assigned align with their official roles and responsibility. What does that mean? It means 8 people who did in the website, 8 people who had access to the website we don't have any authorization that granting them access to the website, meaning that they weren't authorized to be on the website. We didn't have any requests saying we want these people to be on the website, and we don't have any approvals. So the question is, how come they ended up on the website? What were their roles? What responsibility did they have? 8 people who we don't have any requests for them to be on the website. We don't have any approvals. We don't know what they're supposed to do, but they had access to the website. They had access to the website. No. We can run through this. Mr. Me don't finish at 10, you know, but OT, bear with me. Here it is right here. Number 3, in December 2025. This is about 2 months after Melissa hit, you know. This is when them do the agreement. Remember, they didn't do the agreement before. It's after. They say in December 2025, ODPEM and the developer, which is Amber, of Support Jamaica platform, executed a data processing agreement, formally designating ODPEM as data controller and the private developer as data processor. Next sentence. While the agreement referenced compliance with the DPA, blah, 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 security standards, there was no evidence that ODPEM verified the private developer's compliance with those requirements. So the private developer is supposed to have some security, what do you call it? Supposed to comply with certain security requirements. They said ODPEM, there's no evidence that ODPEM verified that. To say, okay, yes, this person here who's doing all of this stuff, yeah, he's authorized. You know, he has the necessary qualifications, the necessary security requirements to do it. Look at this. Our review of the privacy policy on the Support Jamaica website revealed that the data processor's access to personal data was not disclosed, which means that what they're saying is that they built the website, or they tinkered with the website, gave it to the Jamaican government, but guess what? they had access to people's personal information, like bank accounts, names, addresses, all of these things. Amber had access to those things. And not only was it not disclosed, it's one thing if you have an act of omission where you don't tell somebody something, and then you have the act of commission where you do something. There's an affirmative step. In this case, they actually said who had access, and they did not mention that Amber had access. I'm going to show you. Then the data protection, they violated that because there was no data protection officer, and that's in breach of data protection act. Hear them talk about data protection, them can't protect nothing. Can't protect anything. Cannot. Oh yes, the diaspora financial data is compromised. Yes. And then they tell you what should have been done. We won't go through that right now, because we don't have the time for that, to go through all of that. All of this stuff here, really, really interesting stuff. Let me show you something. All of these things here, the questions that the Auditor General asked, very pertinent questions. Let me get to this now. So we're clear that the website was created to deal with it for relief and recovery, to track, mobilize donations, track emergencies, and coordinate recovery efforts. And see right here, developed and donated by a private entity. The government of Jamaica didn't own it, doesn't own it. It's owned by a private entity. And here it is right here. On October 2025, at the top of the screen right here, the private developer donated the website to the government of Jamaica for use as part of a software as a service setup. And what that means, based on what we've been told, is that they were going to use it for a year. And you will hear they use it for a year, and then the turnover, then they start making some payments, right? So we went through this, that Melissa was October 28th, but that they didn't sign the agreement until December. Until December. And there is something that the handshake agreement we told you about, the withholding of 30%. We'll get to that. So let's skip that. Let me show you something. So essentially, let me just skip through this and go through. Skip through this and get to the people who had the thing. See it right there, so? You see that? The supportjamaica.gov.jm website collects personal and health-related data from donors and potential volunteers. So if you volunteered using the website, or if you donated using that website, they have your information. And guess who had it? Not just the government of Jamaica, but a private entity. A private entity. Plus 8 people that we know of who had no business going there. Here it is. As of January 11th, donations totaling $1.4 million US dollars and 71.3 Jamaican dollars were made by 16,900 individuals using the website. All right. Look at this. Remember I told you about the access, saying that they didn't tell them that the private entity, the Amber Group who built and donated this thing, didn't tell them that they had access to the Auditor General found out that they had access. Look at this. See that? On the website, look at what it says. Look at what it says. We further noted that the privacy notice on the supportjamaica.gov.jm website states, look where it states when you give your money. If you read this and you gave your money, you were duped, because see what it says? Access is strictly limited to authorized personnel from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, and the Office of the Prime Minister. Only people assigned to ODPEM and the Office of the Prime Minister should have access to the website. So tell me now, how did Amber get access? How? They're saying that, yes, they probably should have access, but that's not what you told the people when they're giving money. That is not what you told them. You told them that only ODPEM, people assigned to ODPEM and the Office of the Prime Minister would get access to this. Keep that in mind. 2 entities should have access. Office of the Prime Minister, ODPEM. ODPEM, Office of the Prime Minister. Office of the Prime Minister, ODPEM. ODPEM, Office of the Prime Minister. Office of the Prime Minister and ODPEM. Only people assigned to those 2 entities, and not even peoples, only certain people assigned to those 2 entities should have access to the website. That is what they told you when you donated your funds. They didn't tell you about Amber, and they didn't tell you about anybody else. Office of the Prime Minister and ODPEM. Now look at this. Look at this. These are 8 people who had access to your personally identifiable information, including them say health and banking things. Remember, only 2 entities, Office of the Prime Minister and ODPEM. Look here, Ministry of Education. What am I do with access to the website? When? What are they? And this person here was described as a super admin. And they're reporting situational awareness, and they were deactivated the 23rd of December. Now, keep in mind, when did the website go up? It went up the day of the hurricane. I think that was it. Went up the day of the hurricane. Or the day before, one of them. So we're talking October. So this person, first person right here, had access for 2 months. And remember, money was just flowing in at that time. Ministry of Education, Youth, Skills and Information. That is the same ministry headed by the lady who told a lie about money is going directly into ODPEM's account and no intermediary account. No intermediary. It's not true. Look at the second person. Oh, by the way, 2 people from the ministry. Here's one, user 1, user 2. 2 people from that ministry had access. Ministry of Labor and Social Security. Where them come from? They had 1 user. The 2 people from the Ministry of Education, one of them, look, unknown as to when their access was deactivated. We don't know. We don't know. Ministry of Labor shouldn't be there. Their access ended 29th of December, 2 months after. Here's another entity, Jamaica Promotions Corporation. What are they doing in with the website? And remember, people, you know, this information can be sold. This information that you gave them, your information is valuable. Valuable information. Because it can be sold. And we know what happens with scammers. This is information that they want. I'm not saying that this information was sold to scammers. All I'm saying is that your information was possibly known by these 8 people plus Amber. Not saying that they did anything nefarious, but if you knew this, would you say, okay, fine, go ahead and give them the money, or would you try and find another way of giving them the money? Jamaica Promotions Corporation, 4th user. Look, we don't know when this person was deactivated. And look here, pledge manager. So they might take money, I guess, when they make a pledge. See the pledge management. Now, Office of the Prime Minister was one of the offices that, well, ODPEM, I think, comes under the Office of the Prime Minister. So, Office of the Prime Minister, and in Office of the Prime Minister, they have two users. Two people access it. One, to deal with volunteers, and two, pledge manager. Pledge, you know what pledge means. When were they deactivated? When were they kicked off of the site so that they couldn't access the website further? We don't know. There it is, unknown. Now we get to another office. Minister Babsy Grange's ministry. Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. Wait a minute. The Prime Minister's office that should have more users. They only had one. User 5. I said 2. I stand corrected. Only 1. Pledge. Look at Minister Grange's ministry. 3 people. 3 people. I deal with volunteer, and we don't know when they were kicked out or if they were kicked out. We don't know. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 entities with people with access to the website. When of the 5 you see up there, only one should have access based on this. Right there. This. See that? Right there. Access is strictly, you know what strictly mean? Strictly. Just substitute only. Only limited to authorized personnel from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management and the Office of the Prime Minister. That is what they told you when they were collecting your money. That is what's on the website. But then we have this. We have this. We have this. And the most disheartening part of this is that the journalists in Jamaica, they don't ask the questions about this. They don't. So who's there to protect you, my people? Who's there to ask the significant questions of the politicians? Because they are lying to you, they're misguiding you, they're misdirecting you. They want to do everything possible to prevent you from asking the right questions. So then who's going to ask the right questions for you? You would think the journalists. They stand as the buffer between government and people. But we don't hear anybody asking these questions. We don't hear. And guess what? It's no secret. The Auditor General put this out. It's there in the public domain. So I don't know if they're not reading or they don't care to ask for whatever reason. Fear or job security, what I don't know. But they're not asking the questions. So that is that. Let me move this. So the essential point, that you gather from this report is that, essential points actually, that it was a private entity that gifted the website to Jamaica, and that private entity had access to your personally identifiable information, and that private entity with certain security requirements, we don't know if they satisfied them. And then we have 8 people. Of the 8 people, only 1 should have had access to your information. And the 8 people comprise 1, 2, 3. The 8 people comprise 5 government entities. And of the 5 government entities, only 1 should have access to your information. And why do we say this? Because they put it on the website when they were collecting, when they were saying, look, Be a cheerful giver. Give to the cause. Your people in need. Nuggets for the needy. Send your money. They said only ODPEM and the Office of the Prime Minister, only those individuals will have access to the website. And now we know that not true. Not true. Adrian Francis said, which journalists not talk about? The ones who didn't ask the question, Adrian. The ones who didn't ask the questions. Those who asked the questions, fine. But the ones who didn't ask these tough questions. Somebody should be over at the Ministry of Education, Youth Skills and Information and say, hey, how come you have access to this thing? Because on the website it says only, essentially, you shouldn't have access. So how did you get access? Who gave you access? Who requested access for you? Who approved access for you? And what was your real role? Tell us, not this justification provided, but tell us, what was your real role? Somebody said to me that we don't have a lot of journalists in Jamaica. What we have reporters. They get news and they just convey it. That's all. Nobody's doing critical thinking. Nobody's doing investigative journalism to say, wait a minute. And it doesn't take much. Who, when, why, what, how. Challenge what you've been heard, what you've heard. Challenge what you've heard. Ask questions. That's a good point. Why do they need access in the first place? And if they need access, why didn't they amend the agreement to say, okay, the additional people will need access? Why did they say that it's strictly, they use the word strictly, only these people will have access, or these two entities? So that's that. OT, me know we're gone over the time. But people, whoa, OT, you'll kill me. Let me just go to this next one here. All right. I have to show them this report, OT. Even if we don't get to the video, I have to show them the report. All right. Now, this report, no, the Auditor General, she was very strategic. It was brilliant the way she did this. She didn't use a word that the government has been using regarding the TC and conflate. She didn't conflate the issues. What she did was she separated the website and the security issues from the website and the payment issues, or website and the money issues. She separated them, which was good, because if she had put them in one report, it would have been confusing, I suspect. Here it's easy. Website, security issues. Website, money issues. Omega said, don't kill him, OT. All right. No, Omega, because I told OT I have something that I have to do tomorrow. And I told her what we're going to finish at 10, but we started late. So, all right. Here's what we're going to be doing now. We're going to be looking at how the money was spent, how the money wasn't spent. We're going to talk how the money came in. We're going to focus on Lasco. All right, let me show you something. See this? As of February, ODPEM received a total of 1.44 billion Jamaican B in cash donations. And that's 473.4 million Jamaican dollars and 6.1 million US dollars. And they said, as of February 23rd, only 1.8% of the money spent. Now think about that, people. You have a disaster of monumental proportion. Once in a lifetime event. And you have to take care of your people. And you've been begging all across the globe. And you get money. You get and you borrow. You sit down on a stockpile of cash. And that's exactly what you did. You sat on the stockpile of cash and let people suffer. The hurricane was October, I know. November, December, January, February. 4 months later, they only spent 1.8%, 26 million Jamaican dollars. I think that's Jamaican dollars. Let's stick with it. Let's just say 1.8% of the monies they collected. 1.8. And people still looking up right now at the skies. And look at what they say right here. As an excuse. They say, when they ask, how come you only spend 1.8? They said, it was due to the absence of authorization from the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service to expend the funds. So they're blaming the Ministry of Finance now. Remember now, people, this is an emergency. And we've seen where they've done with emergency. They suspend procurement rules, they suspend this rules, that rule, that, because it's an emergency. And they're saying, oh, we only spend 1.8 because we didn't get any authorization. Well, let me ask you this then. The 1.8 that you spent, who authorized that? You're saying you couldn't spend more because Ministry of Finance didn't give you an authorization. So my question then is, okay, so you spend 1.8. Where did you get the authorization? Who gave you the authority to spend that 1.8% of the monies that you collected? I don't hear the journalists asking that question. Now look at number 2. This is where we're going to spend a little bit of time. It says, oh, wait a minute, hold on there. Sorry, people. Sorry. Here it is right here. See that? Top, where it says total funds collected and expended for the hurricane. The next sentence, in its April 2026 response, ODPEM indicated that the low level of utilization was due to the absence of authorization from the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. So what they're saying is that we only spent we didn't spend more than 1.8 because we didn't get authorization from the Ministry of Finance. So the question, who authorized you to spend the 1.8? Or did the ministry authorize you to spend 1 point and then they withheld authorization after that? We need to know. But here's where we're going to spend some time. See, 2. See that? Donated funds withheld by a financial services institution without a formal agreement. We now know that that financial services institution is Lasco. Lasco. We know that. No. Look at this. ODPEM did not have a formal agreement governing the retention and subsequent transfer of donated funds. So you have no agreement with them, with Lasco, to hold the funds and transfer the funds. You have no agreement. The only agreement you have is that the money will, the funds will come in through the credit cards and Lasco will process it. But you have no agreement with them. Think about that, people. Then they said ODPEM presented email correspondence from Lasco proposing to retain 30% for a period of 45 days to cover potential bank chargeback. Remember what we explained the chargeback? Look at this. Next sentence, or the next part of the sentence after the comma. No evidence was submitted to demonstrate approval of the proposal or the existence of a formal binding agreement between the parties. So, Melissa hit October. No agreement. No agreement between Amber and the government of Jamaica. Even though they gave them, they said, we're going to give you this website and use the website. There's no agreement until December. And that agreement did not include this, that Lasco, you can hold on to 30% of the monies for 45 days to cover bank charge back. There it is right there. No evidence submitted to demonstrate approval. They said, oh, there was an email, but it was That's not how you do business. You have a contract, not an email, and it was never approved. And there is no existence of a formal binding agreement between the parties. When you see what I want, I saw Amber and the government still. You see that you don't even need an agreement. You don't need an agreement. Look at the next few sentences. Our review found that Lasco, right here, did not adhere to its proposed, meaning it wasn't an agreement, 45 time frame for transferring the funds to ODPEM. Oh, and then what's interesting here, you see this? We're transferring the retained funds. Remember what the minister said? All monies went straight to the ODPEM's account. Then if it went straight to ODPEM's account, how come we have somebody here holding on to money for 45 days and then are proposing to hold on to money for 45 days and then to transfer it? How? Here it is. Amounts totaling 15.7 million and 298,000 US dollars, 15 million Jamaican dollars and 298,000 US dollars withheld from October to December. Withheld during that period, it was those funds were supposed to be transferred by February 15, 45 days, right? They proposed it, no agreement, gentleman's agreement. Hold on to the money, man. Hold on to it for 45 days. And then, you can give it to us. Hold on for chargeback. Look at this. Lasco itself, here it is, confirmed on March 9 that none, N-O-N-E, of the withheld funds had been transferred by that date. So they agree, we're going to hold on to the money and give it to you in 45 days. And that money should have been turned over by February 15th. But March 9th, almost a month, 3 weeks later, right? Lasco said, yeah, we didn't give them the money. We didn't give them money. And then it says we're at ODPEM that they gave them there's a bank receipt for some money, but we later found out that they confirmed that the money was transferred. No, this is another part where this is the National Disaster Fund. We talked about that earlier. So we don't need to go over that. Except to say that it's right here. Look at this. They never do annual statements. Look at this. See, they wanted, the Auditor General wanted information concerning updated balances for the accounts. All right? And it says, as of the date, they respond to this draft audit report, no updated information had been provided. What kind of, you hear the term patty shop, but you don't expect this from ODPEM and the Office of the Prime Minister. Well, maybe you do. But maybe not to this level. No, they said that, the Auditor General, that there were 3 areas of non-compliance with the law, Disaster Risk Management Act, concerning ODPEM, the National Disaster Fund. First one, see it right here. No annual report for the financial years 2023, 2024, 2024, 2025. Remember, we're not 2026. ODPEM did not prepare the required statement of accounts and annual report. And you remember what she said? You remember that the minister was saying that, oh, there is a financial committee within the group and they're supposed to oversee funding. Now, if she was talking about the money that came in on ODPEM's website, those donations, I've been told that that's ministerial, not ministerial, cabinet level authorization to spend. This one right here Look at this. They said that we didn't do the account. We didn't do the annual report. Why? Look at this. He said, this is attributable. This is because the absence of a functioning fund committee and an appointed chairman. So they didn't do it because they said we don't have a functioning fund committee. We don't have a funding. But the minister said, oh, we have one. And they approve every cent that's been spent. But here they're saying, this is 2026. They're telling the Auditor General, we didn't do any of this because we don't have any we don't have a functioning fund committee and we don't have an appointed chairman. There's so much inside it. This report is rich. Look at number 2. Them not have no bank account. This is the place where them keep a lot of money, you know. So that when you have a disaster, them can just, this is the same NDF. This is the one where in the law, it says that the government has the right to recall 0.5% of the monies budgeted to each parish council. Them can take it back. Them can say, we need 0.5% of the money that you got for the fiscal year to help out, take care of the disaster relief. But they don't have a bank account. Look at what it says. ODPEM does not have a designated bank account for the NDF as required by the law. ODPEM's capital account is being used to co-mingle NDF transactions with transactions relating to the Japan International Cooperation, I don't want to sound like Audrey Marks now, Cooperation Agency, JICA, funded improvement of emergency communication system project. So the Japanese government, they have some money where they put to help with, with disasters in Jamaica, having to do with communications and whatever. And is that them commingle the funds when them should have a bank account? And they said, oh, we don't have a bank account because the accountant general, we asked in 2019 and we didn't get a response, but we didn't follow up. See it right here. Sought approval from the accountant general. No formal response received. See it right here. And no formal follow-up has been conducted. Them not care, people. And some people might add, it works for them that you don't have a bank account and that you can commingle funds because, wink, wink, you know the deal, my people. If you have a bank account, no money go inside there, wink, wink. If you don't have a bank account, money is commingled. Who's to say what come from where or how it's spent? Wink, wink. Wink, wink, wink. And now they say, oh, you know what, Auditor General, yeah, you've caught us. Yeah. We're going to take steps to make sure that a designated bank account is in place. What if the Auditor General never do the audit? What happened? And then we have the procurement, the roofing program. We're going to leave that. We're not going to touch the roofing program. Here is the thing now. They said that the money passed through the financial service institution, Lasco. They have no formal agreement. And that's a no-no. In addition to the other issues. And then they don't have a bank account. So they have to go open up a bank account. And then the rest of this has to do with the roofing. The roofing let me see. Let's quickly go through this. I think this section has to do with the roofing thing. Okay. I want you to look at this. I want you to pay close attention to this. Look at this. Look right here. ODPEM did not disclose to the Ministry of Finance the amounts received and unspent in respect of Hurricane Beryl. Even though they had money, see it, 138 million and 0.1 million remain unspent from cash donations. See it right here. From Beryl prior to the passage of Hurricane Melissa. See that? So they didn't even spend the money for coming for Beryl. They didn't spend the money, all of it. They didn't spend it. See there. See it right there. Let me big it up. And they didn't tell the Ministry of Finance about this. There it is. There it is. Beryl money has not been spent. All of it has not been spent. Has not been spent, my people. And the poor people, there are people who suffered during Beryl, and they languished and they waited and they hoped for their government to come to their rescue. And there was no rescue. And now we have found out that there was money there to rescue or to provide rescue efforts to those suffering people. Wasn't done. You remember that the minister also said that there was no intermediary accounts or whatever? Look at this. There it is. In green. Online transactions were managed by a private financial private financial services institution, which acted as the financial, and there's the word, intermediary. And here's another word coming up, responsible for transferring funds to ODPEM's bank accounts. So how come she said the money went straight into it with no intermediary account, nobody involved, the money went straight? Minister Dixon, to owe the people of Jamaica an apology. You misrepresented the truth to them. And I'm being generous. I'm being kind. Because truth be told, you did worse than that. You stood there on that platform and you led the people of Jamaica to believe, not only the people of Jamaica, but you led the diaspora to believe that monies that came in went straight into the account, and there was a committee, financial committee, that was responsible for oversight, and everything is accounted for, and blah 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 blah. And you knew, or you should have known, given your position and responsibility as the minister with a responsibility for information, that what you said wasn't true. Adrian Francis, why can't AG just recommend investigation and prosecution or immediate termination of couple? No, because Adrian, the Financial Administration and Audit Act, it doesn't give her those powers. It doesn't. She, in fact, she kind of reports to the Ministry of Finance, specifically the financial secretary, because they don't have the title permanent secretary in the Ministry of Finance. It's financial secretary. The Auditor General can only refer the matter to that person. I guess she could refer it elsewhere, but generally speaking, that's where, and she goes there for surcharge action. So what she does is she puts up her stuff and she was like, hey, this is what I discovered. And she's not going to press anybody to do anything. She just said, this is what I discovered. And now it's up to those responsible persons to deal with it. And if they don't deal with it, it's up to us to be the squeaky wheel that gets the grease. Diaspora members, we're not worried now. When the private information in a private hands, or possibly because people had access to it, or it's in the hands of people who shouldn't have access to the website. How do you feel now? How do you feel? How do you feel? Let me go down your song. No, this is going to be interesting. Look here. We're going to show you how the money go now. When the money came in from you, the donors, to the website, whether through wire transfer or credit card. I'll show you now. Here's what the Auditor General says. She says, our review of Lasco's confirmation. Whenever you see FSI, just put Lasco in there. And the reason why we say Lasco is because the same failed leader of ODPEM, Commander Gale, he told the PAC, I think it was last week or week before, he said, when they asked him, give us the name of the FSI, and he blurted out, he said, Lasco Financial. So that's how we know it's Lasco. And we have no reason to doubt him on that. And he said, and so here is what the Auditor General, apparently they reviewed some stuff, talked to Lasco. Here's what the Auditor General found out. It says it revealed that approximately 72.5 million, guess that's Jamaican dollars, and 1.4 million US dollars gross donations were collected between October 28th, the day of the hurricane, until February 23rd, 2026. And I suspect that there's money poured in after February. But that's the cutoff point. Now, remember what I told you, that Lasco was collecting processing fee, 3.9%. The industry standard is about somewhere between 2.5 and 4. Lasco said, I don't want to make it, I don't want to go to 4. Max out on them. So I just do 3.9. It's like buying something, and I don't know about Jamaica prices, but I know that in America, sometimes you'll see something and they'll say $3.99. You don't say $4, you know. You say $3.99. And then you have the sales tax, but you say $3.99. And in your mind, you think you get a deal because you say, yeah, 3. You focus on 3. You know, focus on it. I said it's just 1 cent less than $4, and then I have to pay a tax on it. Lasco did the same thing. Lasco said, we're not going to go 4. We're going to go 3.9. 3.9. And it's just a pity, people, that we can't get to the videos, because you would hear the question asked is, why is it that that Lasco was chosen? And why is it that you just never go out in the market and try and find another financial institution and have them give you a quote as to how much they would charge to process the credit card donations? Why is it that this wasn't done? Look at it now. Lasco deducted from the gross donations a net transaction fee of US 25 cents per transaction. Yes? Follow me. They have a net transaction fee of 25 cents per transaction. How many transactions we had? And which part it there? We just see it a while ago. Whole heap of thousands of donations, right? So For each transaction, they get 25 cents. Then on top of that, they get a commission fee of 3.9% on the gross. And 15% GCT applied to the commission as per the agreement. See that? So you have 25 cents per transaction, a commission fee of 3.9% on this, 3.9% on 72.5 million Jamaican dollars and 1.4 million US dollars. They got 3.9% ODPEM money. And they collected the 15% as well. And 15% general consumption tax applied to the commission. ODPEM money. Then after them deducted that, them said the financial service Lasco retained 30% of the funds for a 45-day holding period to cover bank chargebacks. And we talked to you about that. You know, you buy something, you're not satisfied with the product, you send it back, and then you say you want your money. You want the money to be returned. It's a chargeback, right? When you give money, generally speaking, that doesn't happen because you're not buying a product. You're giving something. And if you say, I'm going to give $100, very few, if anyone would say a week after, 2 weeks after, I want my money back. Very few. So the chargeback is to address those issues. The chargeback monies is to address those issues. Where there's something wrong with the credit card and they build it, and then, you know, in the billing process, they found out, no, this credit card is not good, so can't work with it. So they held back 30% of the funds. After they took out their money, it's not the growth. They took out their money, whatever is remaining, they said, no, we're going to take 30% of this. Right? For 45 days. And as of February, they transferred 1.05 million. Remember what it was? It was 1.4 million US dollars and 72.5 million Jamaican dollars. But here's what they gave. From the 72, they gave back 52. From the 72, they gave back 52 Jamaican dollars. And from the 1.4, they gave 1.05. See it right here? See the chart here? Here it is right here. And this will be easy for everybody to really understand. This will be, here we go. All right. So the gross donations, the total amount of money that came in, 72.4 million Jamaican dollars and 1.4 million US dollars. Look where happened now. Out of that money, out of that 72.4 million, Lasco charged 2.8 million for commission fees. Out of that 1.4 million, they charged 55,000 US dollars. Then they took out 423,000 for GCT out of the money, and for 424,000 Jamaican dollars for GCT from the Jamaican donation, and from the American they took out 8,346. Then they have transaction charges, 182,374 Jamaican dollars and 3,214. And then when them done, them pay ODPEM this and this. Look carefully. Look carefully. See this? This is where, in Jamaican dollars, 72.4 million that people gave. And this is what Lasco gave to ODPEM. Oh, see it, yeah? This one at the bottom, 52 52,800, no, 52,887,000. You see the difference from 72 to 52. Then they got this 1.4 million US dollars. And you see what them give them? 1,050,000. They got 1,426,000. And they give them 1,050,000. You see what I go on here? You see what I go on? And remember now, there was no bidding for Lasco. They didn't go out and bid. And that is what the PAC was saying. Why didn't you go out and get another person? Maybe they wouldn't charge you 3.9. Maybe they would have charged you 2.5. So that more money could come into the account to help more people. But those of you who gave money, right? Let me draw, because let me draw from a calculator here so you can understand what we are talking about. Calculator. 72. I'm sure some of you beat me to the punch, but that's okay. 72,473,000. What that? 72,473,144 Jamaican dollars, and then minus 52,887,126. That equal. Then get 19 million. Write it down now. 19 million. Go on here. 19.5 million Jamaican dollars. Lasco get, right? Then you go to the second one now. The US dollars now. 1,426,674 minus 1,050,235. Look how much money them get. 376,439 US for those manage the transactions. 19.5 million Jamaican dollars and 376,439. That is what Lasco got. 376,000 US dollars, 276,439 of your money. OT right, over $250,000 US dollars to Lasco. Then now they have another deal. Remember the handshake deal we talked about where they say, oh, you can keep the money for 45 days. Just give it to us within, 45 days. Now, here's the 45 days thing now with the donation. See, their donation withheld. Donations withheld. Here it is for over 45 days. And again, here we are. It says, however, we noted that ODPEM did not have in place a formal agreement with Lasco governing the retention of 30% of net donations for 45 days to cover potential bank chargebacks. Them say they have an email and that's it. But it was never approved, no contract. And again, the Auditor General took great pains to point out that despite this email, this friendly email chat that they have, it's right here, no evidence was submitted by ODPEM to demonstrate approval of the proposal or the existence of a formal agreement between the parties. Again, withholding the money, holding on to your money for 45 days, ODPEM did not have an agreement with Lasco for that. That was a wink wink, near your friend, hold on upon this money for chargebacks. No. Here's the shock. No. Here's another shock. They said, notwithstanding the agreement, notwithstanding the wink wink thing for holding on to the money for 45 days, notwithstanding that, Lasco did not transfer the amounts to ODPEM with the proposed arrangement. Even when you say, all right, we'll give back in a 45 days, Lasco did not, it is right there, did not transfer the amounts withheld. And the Auditor General balance the scales down. Myself, I love this woman to death. Ms. Pamela Monroe Ellis, you don't know how much I admire what you're doing for the people of Jamaica. Yes, you're not perfect, but I am telling you, in my book, you're an A. No. We can get A plus and A plus plus. You are whatever the highest grade. You are. You did it. You're it. Look at what she said. She said, not only did Lasco didn't give back the money within the 45-day period, but ODPEM never make any attempt to get the money back. Lasco did not provide ODPEM with the funds within the 45-day period that they proposed. And ODPEM, on the other hand, did not ask for it. And here it is, she said, look how much money they withheld. She said, we found that 15.7 million, and look at this, 298,000 US dollars were all of this money withheld from October to December. And they were due for payment as of February 15, right here. And look, she said, our review, Auditor General's review of ODPEM, showed no withheld funds were received up to February 2026. No. Look at this. Standard financial management practices require formal agreements to hold on to funds and to release them after the asset period. You must have an agreement. There's no agreement here. And ODPEM just never care. No. Look at this, my people. I know me have to show another thing them, because I take pleasure in doing this, because as we would say in South Africa, you must know. You must know, my brother, my sister. You must know. Here it is now. Look how much money Lasco withheld. Right? From October 2025, 6.2 million Jamaican dollars and 46,000 US dollars. And they were supposed to transfer it December 16, 2025. Look when they transfer it, March 9, which was 83 days beyond the 45-day period. It is right here, 83. So they had 45 days to turn over the money. And then they went another 83 days beyond the 45 days. No. What do you think they would do with that? What were they doing with that money? Look at November. 7.8 million Jamaican dollars, 221,000 American dollars. And they were supposed to transfer the monies to ODPEM by January 16. Look when they transfer it. March 9, which was 52 days past the 45-day period. Look at December 2025 right here. In December, they withheld 1.5 million Jamaican dollars and 30,000 US dollars. They were supposed to transfer it February 15th. They transferred it March 9th. 22 days passed. And so what going? Look at January 2026. 303,000 Jamaican dollars. 303,000 Jamaican dollars and 6.8 thousand US dollars. Supposed to be done March 18. And some of this is a transfer at March 9th, which was before, 9 days before the deadline. Here's what you must pay attention to. Here's what you must pay attention to. Look at the first 3 actual transfer dates. This box here. This box here. You see? One day. March 9, March 9, March 9. March 9, they turned over. They transferred all this money. One day, they transferred all of this money. And look how many days they had it for. Look how many days they had these for. Now, I've been told by people, again, I must mention it. I've been told by knowledgeable people, experts in the financial field, that whenever you see something like this, where they're supposed to turn the money over by a certain time period, and the money is not turned over, that in some cases, I'm not saying that it happened in this case. You can make up your mind about this. But in some cases, they're turning the money over. They're investing it in like short-term investments. Like, for example, the stock market. They're playing the stock market. They're doing something with the money. And in some cases, they're making money on the money that they're holding for the people of Jamaica or for whomever. Shouldn't say people of Jamaica, but they're making money on the money that they've withheld. Again, I'm not saying Lasco did this. I have no independent proof that they did it. I'm just curious as to why the money was held. For how many days? Let me see something. I have to make sure. I don't want to make the mistake. 45. Why the money, like the first one, was held for 128 days? Why? Why the second one, 45, and that's what? 97 days, the second one. And the third one, 77 days. Why? We just want to know why was the money being withheld for those periods of time? And one way you can know about this is if you say, okay, you know what? Let's start an investigation and look at Lasco's. Let's subpoena Lasco's records and look to see when the money came in. Where did Lasco put all of this money? And then you look to see, okay, so they had all of this money in one place. Because remember, there shouldn't be commingling funds. You can't do that. You can't commingle funds. So it's supposed to be in one place. And if when you go there and you look, you see that all of this money wasn't there, that the money was transferred out. You need to see where the money was transferred out to. And you need to see if money came back, when the money came back. And you need to start asking questions. Where did this money go? Why did you move it? When did you move it? Blah, 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 blah. Ask all of these questions. Because it's just kind of strange that the money came in to help poor people. And a significant portion of it was withheld by Lasco for an inordinate period of time, beyond the time period that they said they were going to hold it. So first of all, 30% is a relatively high percentage for chargebacks for an event like this. And then when you have a handshake agreement, it's not even an agreement. It's not a formal agreement. And you need formal agreements for stuff like this. And then they say, okay, we'll hold on to 30% for chargebacks. And then for 45 days. And then they held on to the money. And ODPEM didn't ask. And then, if you notice, look at the transfer date. The transfer date is March 9, 2026. What page is this? Page 21. All right. March 9. I could say the Auditor General turned in this report in May. It is right here. It is right here. Submitted May, early May. So it's only after the Auditor General got involved that this money got turned over. It's only The Auditor General report is dated May, and we could go to page 21. Teacher, them turn over the thing. The Auditor General was already talking to them. She was already talking to them. Let me go back up and say there's something here where she said, where she mentioned when she Sita, look right here. On March 9, Lasco confirmed that none of the withheld amounts were transferred. March 9. And see with them, Sita, them transferred. The same day them tell her that none of the monies have been transferred. Nothing was transferred. Same date. Here it is. And here you see what complete the sentence. It says, it says March 9, 2026, the FSI confirmed that none of the withheld amounts were transferred to ODPEM's Jamaican or US accounts, but indicated that the funds were in the process of being cleared for payment. So the funds were cleared for payment March 9. After they spoke to the Auditor General. So if it wasn't for the Auditor General, it's likely that this money would not have been turned over then. So what were they doing with the money for the period that they held on to it without a formal agreement? And here it is again. She said no evidence was found that ODPEM took timely or effective action to enforce compliance with the proposed arrangement, despite significant delays of between 22 and 83 days. And here's the key: beyond the proposed transfer timeline. And she could have easily put there 45 days. It is right there. And here they agree. They said, here it is, management response. They said, okay, Auditor General, you caught us. The 30% for 45 days to cover bank charges will be addressed, and the necessary steps taken to have a written agreement in place. So they never have one. Oh boy. Listen, people. Then we can go into the low utilization of funds. Look at this. Look at this, people. Just want to show you one thing. I forgot now. Hurricane Beryl bank balance as of October 28th. As of the time that Melissa hit Jamaica, they had 138.76 million of Beryl's fund still in the bank, and they had 101, almost 102,000 US dollars. There it is. We need now go no further because there's so much. Auditor General, speaking for myself and on behalf of the Jamaican people at home and abroad, I extend heartfelt congratulations to you on the work that you've done in exposing, and yes, exposing what took place. And we suspect that there's more taking place. But we thank you for your report that was submitted in May. Because had it not been for you, we would have never known. You would have never known. And Adrian Francis, you're right. Imagine what is going on with general government accounts. Because, and you know why you're so right, Adrian? Because the Auditor General, when Melissa hit, the Auditor General made a public, it came out in the public domain that she was going to do a real time audit of the spending. So they knew, and they still did this. So can you imagine what they're doing with other accounts that people are not looking at? Just let that sink. Let this sink in. Let this one item sink in. This one right here. Hurricane Beryl bank balance as of October 28th. $102,000 US dollars approximately, and 138.7 Jamaican dollars still sitting there unspent. Let that hit you. Those of you who were affected by Beryl and did not receive any assistance, take a look at that and ask, why? Why? Let me tell you what was conveyed to me by a very trusted and reliable source in government as to why. You can take it or you can leave it. I'm not telling you this for the truth, as we say in court, for the matter, truth of the matter, for the matter asserted. I'm telling you this for the fact that it was said. Then you can take that information and compare it to, oh, wait a minute, compare it to this. There's it. There it is. That one highlighted area, Hurricane Beryl, bank balance, 138.7 million Jamaican dollars, approximately 102,000 US dollars. And I said to you, you should ask why. Particularly those affected, those who were affected by Beryl and got no relief. And here's what I was told. And again, I'm not telling you this because it is or isn't true. I'm telling you because it was said to me. So you can take what I'm saying to you, look at this, and make up your mind. I was told that the decision to hold back on Hurricane Beryl funds came from the ministerial level. It wasn't the administrators, it was the ministerial level. And I asked, why is it then that they allowed some monies to be spent, but not this? And I was told, I'm paraphrasing now, you know how the ministers, them go on, a lot of them don't really have no sense, but people just want do things for do things. Them just want exert power. Some of them might even have ulterior motives, but they allowed the spending to take place initially, and then they stopped. That's what I was told. Now, take that and look at what's on the screen. And you'll see that a lot of money wasn't spent. And I was also told that this money you're looking at, the 138.7 million Jamaican dollars and the approximately 102,000 US dollars, that those funds are going to be merged with the Melissa funds and will be used for Melissa, people affected by Melissa. There is a way that they could use some of that funds to help people affected by Beryl, but they're not going back to Beryl. They're not going back to Beryl. They're not even going to Melissa. But just think about that. Money came in to help people for burial, never got to them. Never got to them. Never got to them. People, this is not good. It breaks my heart, really, to see how the people of Jamaica, the sufferers, how we're being treated. You know, I had a conversation today with somebody. Well, I really have conversations with people, but today somebody said to me, isn't it amazing that they're now planning to go to England to ask for reparations for the evil committed against black people, slaves, the value of their labor, and yet they won't allow us to use the beaches owned by the Crown. They're going to the Crown to say we need money for everything that's going to do evil to us. And so the conversation was, does it matter what color your oppressor is? Does it really matter? Because some people will tell you that they're being oppressed in Jamaica by people who look like us and some who don't exactly look like us. I want you people to think everything I've said. Think through everything I've said tonight. Go back and watch the program, if you have to. And just think about the state of affairs in Jamaica. Think about our expectations going back to 2016. Because they'll tell you that before 2016, the country was a wreck, blah, blah, blah. Fine. But when you came in 2016, you said you're going to fix all of those things. But when we look, we see that things have gotten worse. Things have gotten worse. Where is the prosperity you promised? People had their hopes sky high that, okay, you know, we have a government now that has been, we have a government that was in opposition for many years. And so they've seen what the issues were, and they're going to turn things around. People had high expectations. People on both sides of the, people who support both parties and people who supported none of the parties, they had high expectations in 2016. And now when you look from 2016 to now, you see that all we're getting just promises. And all you have to do is just ask this one simple question. Are you better off now than you were before 2016? Given the promises and all of this, are you better off now? Almost all of the people I speak to, they say no, they're not better off. In fact, they say they're worse off. Part of that too, they say, is because we were promised. We were high on this prime minister. We said, yes, this is our savior. He's coming to make our lives better. And so we had high expectations and nothing happened. So it's even worse than before. Worse than before. Look, I could go on and on and on and on and on, but you know what? OT, give it 2 more minutes. What do you think, OT? 2 more minutes, or you want to go to the 11:30? No more producer there. Producer Nancy, she did a laugh, you know. But again, Saturday, do you think, you see, she threw it back right at me. She's so smart, may I tell the people. I have two brilliant producers. And you see what OT just did to me? I asked her, should we go to for another 2 minutes or 11:30? And here she said, do you think? And I guarantee you, if I say OT, I just talk out the things and go, then tomorrow I'm not gonna hear it. Not then tomorrow. When I come off, I get the phone call. Cuss me. No, on a serious note, OT no cuss me. OT is a very patient person, you know. Very reserved. But let me just explain to you. Let me just go back and pull up the thing for Saturday. All right, Saturday. For the music interlude, don't forget you have to check out Kevin's Stew, on Saturday from 8 to 10, and then I come on from 10 to midnight. And just so you know, I'm going to be playing current and contemporary reggae music. Music you can just sit back and hold a mates to, you can vibe out. Some of it you can dance. So towards the end, because we usually start out kind of slow and build the tempo to the point where you can dance. And then at midnight, Dr. Love, he comes on, and then you'll journey with him until 2. And I know a lot of you, God bless you, because you have the strength, the resilience, the patience. So I get a call from somebody in the inner circle. Hold on there. Yes, my people, see? We're not going to say who that was, but very, very important person. And the music thing now, on our journey with Dr. Love till 2 a.m. And as I was saying, God bless some of you folks, because you come on at 3 and you stay with us. And it takes a lot, we know. But a lot of you people, you look at us and say, it's not just we. You and Kevin, because una get, and you, Kevin, Joan, and una get everything and a half to the people of Jamaica. And so we are going to support you, and we are eternally grateful and indebted to you for doing that, because without you, where would we be? And just so you know, we not brag, we not boast, we not show off, but between me and Uno, I'm not tell nobody. Like on a Saturday, we get about, I don't know, somewhere between 10 and 12,000 YouTube viewers. It could be more. It's picking up. But on the Reggae Global side, not this Saturday, the Saturday before, we had 223,000 people all across the globe listening on their devices. Make that sink in. 223,000. Almost 250,000 people. Make that sink in. And say OT, the OT know analyze me alike, because OT was there when the stats are read out and we are go through the conversation. So the message is being broadcasted, and people are hearkening to it because they're tuning in on a regular basis. We want more people for tuning on YouTube still, Don't get me wrong. But we also realize that on YouTube, some of the devices, they're in markets, they're in bars. We have our people in a Mandeville, And I don't know when I talk. Manchester people, when them put out for them thing, them put it out on the veranda and them invite the community. We're not calling a name, but I don't know on yourself, right? And the same thing happening in Kingston and all over the country. We know that when Reason with Rattigan come on a Saturday, it's not just one person to one device. In some instances, it's a community. It's a family. And so we're very, very thankful. Very thankful. So keep watching, my people. And develop that inquiring mind if you don't have it yet. It's a very critical skill to ask the questions. So here's what happened now. On Saturday, you cannot afford to miss, and we're coming on early. And by the way, people, if for those of you who came on time or early today, you'd realize that we were late, and we were late through no fault of ours. OT and I, we were here about 35 minutes, 40 minutes before the program started. Kevin came on, and then the thing just went haywire. It's technology. We won't blame anybody. It's just technology. And so we weren't able to get on until, 20 after, 30 minutes after the start time. It is what it is. And again, we're very thankful that you were patient enough to stay with us to listen to the message. But here's why you can't miss Saturday. Because Saturday, we're going to talk about Minister Vaz's visa situation, but we call it Vaz's visas, plural, because we only hear about one visa, but there were two visas. How many of you knew that? And then we're going to talk about it from the American perspective. Not the, me did hear say, as we're reading at the newspaper, we're going beyond the newspaper headlines. We're going to give you an inside look at how these things are processed and who's responsible and how it's done. We're going to give you all of that. We're also going to be talking about the Integrity Commission. Remember, I promised you that we're going to do a whole series on the Integrity Commission. We're going to start this Saturday, and we're calling it Integrity Commission before the beginning. So we're going to go back to when the three agencies responsible for dealing with corruption issues, when they collapsed, all three of them, and they formed one entity. We're going to talk about those three entities, what they were doing. It'll be short, but it will be educational, because a lot of you didn't know that the Integrity Commission was the result of three agencies, the incorporation of three agencies into one. And Mr. Greg Christie, the gentleman who just left the Integrity Commission, he played an integral role. He was the, Inspector General way back then. He was the first one, I believe, who came up with the idea to have one super agency to deal with corruption issues. So we're going to give you a brief history of that. But this is going to continue for weeks, months, because we have a lot to do in terms of educating you about the Integrity Commission. The good and the bad. We're going to talk about all of those things. And then we're going to talk to you about SSL. And we're going to talk to you about some things, and we're going to show you some things. Some people have mentioned some of the things, others have mentioned some other things, but we're going to put it all together, and we're going to show you some things. And we're going to connect the dots and bring you right to the Prime Minister. Thank you, Oti. Thank you. I know he's not going to be happy when he sees when he sees what we're going to be doing. But my team said to me, don't talk too much about it. Just let the people know that you're going to be talking about SSL, and we'll move from there. And I have the promo in front of me, but the promo won't go out until Saturday. So, and it's called SSL, blah, 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 the shocking connections. Come early. We're also going to have Kenko I, Angela Burke, and her husband DJ. Last week, remember, they came on and they revealed the Kenko I, the product that assists people with vision problems, including blindness. to understand what is going on around them. And we're going to have a live demonstration this Saturday. Oh, somebody said, don't bring on any guests. Just go into your program, sir. The guest cuts that we all show up for. Okay, all right, Jim. But Jim, Jim, we have to bring on King Kawhi. It's I don't know if you watched the program last week, Saturday, but King Kawhi, it's a marvel. And it's being done by one of us. So we have to big up the thing. We have to big up the product, big up the people behind it. So and we have lots of people trying to come on Saturday, but I know just like you, JM, producer Joan, she has spoken to me about having, a whole bunch of guests. And not to mention OTC. Not to mention OTC, because they want me to just go into the material, But we have to leave you with some cliffhangers, though, people. You understand that we can't finish everything all the time. We have to leave you with some cliffhangers. But Don said, what suggestion to people in the diaspora who donated to the Melissa Fund? Should they launch an investigation with the new information given as to how the funds was? Don, that's a good point. That's good observation, good question. I don't know. There are lots of things going on in my mind now, Don, but I just don't want to say them right now until I fully explored all the options. There's a part of me that wants to just blurt out what should be done, but that probably would be unwise because I'd probably end up saying some things that tomorrow, in retrospect, I shouldn't have said that. I should have waited. So please bear with me. Jim, me and you in a pic is my profile pic for my WhatsApp at the Manhattan. Hey, all right. Outstanding. Thank you. Joan Allen said the PM is going to tune into the program. I tell you what, Joan Allen, if he doesn't tune in, some of his folks, I know they're going to tune in. Because you see, once we start, you know how it is. People say, hey, Rattigan over there talk about this animal show, that. And they're going to rush over. They're going to rush over. So let me apologize to all of you again for not opening. So I have my phone. I have the phone for turn on. No phone. But again, the information is so critical that I just didn't want to be. And I'm sure a lot of you wouldn't want the flow to be interrupted by phone calls. Even though the phone calls are important. Phone calls are very important. But you have to prioritize. Do I just do it and then have the phone call? Because some of you know, you write to me all the time and you say, hey, look, when you're presenting, just present. Don't worry with no phone calls, man. Take phone calls some other time because it breaks up the rhythm, And they say sometimes some people ask questions that really shouldn't be asked. And, you're so tolerant that you listen to them and you don't know when to cut off people when they're long-winded. Some of you have said that. And I've taken that into consideration. And that's why, but tonight I really wanted to open the phone line, but I really had to tell you what's going on with the website and also with the funding. So, John Jackson said, I make myself a cup of tea. Okay, so we have cut it at 11:30 because we know OT we're gonna over. Well, actually, it's an hour OT because we were about half hour late. So, yeah, and one more thing. Somebody, when you said to me, "Why open up your eyes right there?" And believe me, he says, if I'm talking to you, and people see me all the time, I don't close my eyes when I'm talking to people, but this one, me there in front of the camera and I can see the screen over here, and some of the things I'm seeing, believe me, very touching. And sometimes I have to kind of like get back in on myself and kind of like just close my eyes. And it creates a space within which I can visualize things, and from that I can verbalize. Not that I can't do it with my eyes wide open like this, but there's just something about closing your eyes, looking at the material over there, and then just trying to explain it and just close your eyes. So forgive me. But when you should have seen me more often though, because when you see me more often, you know, my eyes are wide open. Joan Allen said you should have days with no guests. That's true. And if we don't get through this presentation, the SSL presentation, because the SSL presentation, believe it or not, it's two. It's two. And I don't know if we're going to get through both of them. So the following week, you know what? Una should have Una must talk to OT and talk to Joan. Especially Joan for the Saturday program. Talk to Joan and tell her, voice your opinion and tell her. Because she gets bombarded with a whole bunch of people, and they're very good guests. They're people with information. But I understand that you want me to just go ahead and just give what I have to give without the interruption. And maybe we can find a way to do that where we can bring the guests on, like we did last week, bring the guests on first, and then we just roll into the presentation, because I know it's very disruptive when you have, I'm on a roll and, your interest is piqued, and then we stop and bring somebody on, and then that person is on for an hour, and then we get back. I understand, believe me. So we have to do a better job at that. And it's not just it's me. I have to do a better job at that, because the young ladies have been telling me, and I've been the one saying, no, man, make what do that way. But you are right, and the two producers are right. I'm wrong. So we will do something about that. So people, it's 11:30 now. Thank you for joining me. It's been my pleasure and privilege to be here with you. And I look forward to seeing you early. 3 o'clock sharp. You open this way. Take your own food. I'm love. One aim. One destiny. Lead us out, OT.
Like him, back up, them not no ties on him. Them know said that the people rely upon him. You know said them bring out them Christ through him. That's why all the people them respect him. Just like Selassie and Marcus Garvey, the man who hold the harder of the Trinity. A real strong soldier in a army. No simpleton can disarm you. Them fight for the people every day. Risk them life for the people every day.
Look how Jamaica stay. No light, no road, no food pan we plate. People are suffer while Andrew live great. You stand up on the platform, smile wide and proud. I tell we about prosperity, but we can't see it all now. Hurricane come through, I left the people here. 6 months later, them still old, asleep under the air. Their JLP friends, them build high-rise, road still full of hope. A whose pocket do I feel, while the nation lose its soul. Hospital overflow, picnic can't get bed. School roof a leak, but you and Juliet well fed. You always have excuse, always pass the blame. Every time something wrong, it never go in your name. Jamaica a drown and you claim you're unclean. Biggest actor in our politics we ever see. Boldness, time to go. Time to go. The people we say no. 10 years and we can't take no more, you know you're us. We are not on the door. Boldness, time to go. Time to go. From Kingston to Lebanon, the people say so. We tired, we hungry, we done with the show. Boldness, that time we go. Farmer can't afford to plant food, price reach the sky. You're bringing the poor to you while your own people cry. We born you, we grow you, we bleed for this land. But Andrew at the top out extend the man. You talk about vision, you talk about plan. But 10 years later we still can't understand. Corruption report land and nobody charge. The people pocket small but the scandal them large. Who's crack up or responsible? Country suffocating and it just more. And when we raise the voice up all we political, but the truth is the truth and the truth is biblical. Time for the people. We say no. 10 years and we can't take no more. You know hear us. We are not for the door. Time for go. From Kingston to Negril, people say so. We tired, we hungry, we done with the show. All this our time for go. We no want no hype, we no want no speech. We want action, no, not the lies you preach. Hurricane victims still under tarpaulin. Prime Minister fly gone foreign. Your JLP cabinet full, but the people covered empty. Oh, you live so large when we living so scanty. Not with fists, not with fire, but we voice them rising higher and higher. From every parish, every yard, every gate, Jamaica speaking and I'm not too late. Hey! Time for the people. We say no, 10 years and we can't take no more, you know hear us. We are not for the door. Time for go. From Kingston to Negril, the people say so. We tired, we hungry, we done with the show. Oh, yes, our time for go. This one is for every Jamaican. We can't afford feet. We are sleep on cardboard. We are drive on broken road.